Artists always want to know how can they mix their vocals better. There's a lot of different ways and a lot of different information and tutorials out there, as you probably know. And in today's video, I'm going to let you in on 5 key vocal mixing tips that'll let you and your voice sound a lot better. Are you ready? Let's go. Are you an artist, producer, engineer, or music professional that's looking for funding for your music career? Could you benefit from having funding for studio time, mixing and mastering, or even marketing costs? I think I have something for you. I've written a free ebook. It's 9 pages, super short and digestible, where I break down the 6 main places that artists and professionals like yourself can find funding for their musical projects. If this sounds like it's of value to you, please click the link below and you can download this for free today and benefit from this knowledge. I hope this helps. I'll see you guys soon. Peace. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is your boy 5-Piece producer and engineer extraordinaire. Thank you for checking out today's video. And if you haven't already, please hit the bell and the subscribe button below. We're about to talk about some awesome stuff like mixing and mastering, and particularly how to make your vocals sound dope. But if you want, you can check out my other content as well. We're definitely talking about the same things, but also recording, business advice, career advice, grant writing, and all kinds of other stuff that's going to help you sound better and make more money with your music. So definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But in today's video, we're going to talk about 5 key vocal mixing tips that's going to allow you to sound better and impress more people with your music. Let's jump onto Pro Tools and I'll show you what's going on. Use EQ to cut unnecessary low end. Something that happens in every mix is you're going to bust out an EQ and you're going to EQ the vocals. You're going to try to just carve out some frequencies and make everything sound nice and pristine. And this is usually to also compensate for some of the flaws that may have happened during the recording. Now, one thing that's standard happens every single time when you're recording vocals is there's usually a buildup of low end energy. What I mean by that is there's usually a buildup of low frequency content that's essentially muddy and doesn't really help you understand or hear the vocals. It's unintelligible information, and it's very important for a kick drum, a bass, or an 808, but it's not very important for the vocal. In fact, all it does is make the vocal sound muddy and unclear, or just not very detailed, really. So in order to achieve a high-end vocal sound, what you want to do is you definitely want to cut all the low frequency content from a sound. I got this record here from my guy Left Field Keel. This is something that I produced, and you can hear what I'm talking about when I solo this. Let me just solo the vocal for a second and check out these frequencies.
Never get out of my zone. Elevation with my mind on.
You hear a little bit of what he's saying. Obviously, you're getting some of that, but when you listen to it in context, check this out. This will be with it.
Right in front of me, I go and get it. How they treated me, I won't forget it. Kill the beat, don't need to phone a medic. Do it on your own, they want the credit.
And you can tell when I put it in, it's not a huge noticeable difference, but it's just shifting this low-end energy that I'm getting rid of upwards a little bit, making it sound a bit more high-end. Now let's listen to this in context real quick. Take it out.
Never getting out of my zone. Elevation with my mind on. Right in front of me, I go and get it. How they treated me, I won't forget it. Kill the beat, don't need to phone a medic. Do it on your own, they want the credit. Everybody got their hands out, but nobody wanna get them dirty. From afar, watch you struggle with it. Deep inside, they wanna see you lose. People like to talk a lot of shit, but are they really real? That's another story.
It's not necessarily a huge night and day difference, but at the same time, it is just making the vocals sound a bit more clean, a bit more high-end, and ultimately better than it does without this filter engaged. Use compression to even out the performance. Now, something we want to do in every mix is utilize compression to even out the differences in volume between the varying sections of the song. Now, typically when an artist records, the engineer is just going to set the level to a standard place, and they may adjust it over time, but it's not that common that they do that. And instead, what happens is everything that gets recorded at that same level, and there is generally some varying volumes in the performance. That's because the artist may not deliver the hook and the verse exactly the same, in the same tonality, the same pitch. There may be differences in pitch and whatnot, which could lead to these different volume differences, and most songs are like that. I have a song here, Butterflies by my guy Cashflow, and it's no exception. You can see that things are a bit louder at times, and then they get a little bit quieter at others. So what we want to do is we want to utilize a good compressor set appropriately to ultimately compress the vocal and make the performance a bit more even in volume. I'm just going to show you what this sounds like with and without compression, and if you want to learn more about how to compress vocals, I'll leave a tutorial down below for you to check out as well. So here it is without compression. I'll put the compression in halfway through.
Oh girl, you used to give me butterflies. Turns out you were just full of lies, acting like it was you and I. Waste my time, so I say goodbye. You used to give me butterflies, broke my heart with your fucking lies. Thought it would be you and I. Waste my time, so I say goodbye. Oh, lately
you can see that it's working very gently, and it's also helping the vocal ultimately come up a little bit, become a bit more forward, a bit more even, and ultimately just sound better. Use multiband compression for managing frequencies. One of my favorite tools for mixing high-end vocals is using multiband compression. Multiband compression sounds really natural when done right and is very transparent. And this is great because sometimes EQ is not the best thing to use to solve frequency problems. Now, when you are doing something with an EQ, it's ultimately going to be adding or taking away from that frequency for the entire duration of the track. And that might be helpful at times, but when there's key changes and other things that happen within the vocal performance, it could also lead to some problems and actually be working against you. For that reason, the multiband compressor is a great tool to use. You could set it up so it essentially gets rid of a specific pocket of frequencies only when they exceed a predetermined threshold. So I have this set up right now, for example, on Cashflow's song No Games, and we're going to take a listen to it, but you're going to see that this multiband compressor is ultimately reducing the low end a little bit to help the vocal sound a little bit more high end and a little less muddy, which is what's happening in the lower frequency range of the track. Let's check this out. I'm going to get rid of it first.
no game, no, you never been acting up. No games, baby girl, it's spectacular. Oh, damn, who are you if you ain't the one? Whole day when you still can't get enough. No game, no, you never been acting up. No games, baby girl, it's spectacular. Oh, damn, who are you if you ain't the one?
It's somewhat subtle, but ultimately it's just getting rid of those lower frequencies in the voice, right? So if I solo this and solo this as well and play, you're going to hear what we're getting rid of.
No game, no, you never been acting up.
Right? It's pretty low, right?
No games, baby girl, it's spectacular. Oh, damn, who are you if you ain't the one? Whole day when you still can't get enough. No game, no, you never been acting up.
You could just hear it's tightening up the low end and just making sure it's not too present, not too overbearing, and isn't poking out too much, right? And that's leading to a much cleaner sounding vocal within the mix. Use automation to create perfect delays. When it comes to effects, there's a few that you're always going to rely on in every mix, and delay is most definitely one of them. Delay is a great way to add more ambience and space to a mix, and it's a cool alternative to reverb as well. I usually use a combination of both in my mixes, but I find reverb itself can very much wash out a recording and make it a little less intelligible. So for that reason, I like to use delay a little bit more. And the secret sauce to getting really, really good delays is to actually automate them. So you're never going to just statically set your delay level to a specific point, but instead you're going to draw in, or if you can, fly it in by using a MIDI controller. You're going to do that and create automation to ultimately throw your delays a little bit more. They're usually referred to as delay throws, and this just adds a whole new level of dimension to your mix. So I'm going to show you this record here. It's Deja Daniels' Puddin', very popular record. And let me just show you what's going on. You can see here I've drawn in a couple of things, and this particular moment is what I want to focus on because it's a really cool delay throw. So check this out.
Know that I shouldn't and know I should listen. How you gon' act like we be just friends when you all up in my gut? How you gon' act like we just...
So this delay, it just wouldn't have been the same had I not drawn it in. You see how I've increased it specifically for just this word as opposed to the rest of the line is fairly static, right? This increase ultimately led to that cool echo effect that happens afterwards, and I like to think that adds the secret sauce to this record. So when you're approaching your own vocal mixes and you're adding delay, don't be afraid to add delay throws to ultimately really sauce up your mix. Use saturation to help vocals cut. A really cool way to get your vocals to cut is to use saturation. Saturation comes in a lot of different formats. It could be distortion, it could be an actual saturation plugin, it could be a guitar amp. There's an infinite array of possibilities when it comes to saturation, and I like to use this one, Lo-Fi, from Pro Tools, just a free stock plugin that comes with it. And I just like to add a 0.1 of distortion and a 0.1 of saturation. It's a very, very small amount of both distortion and saturation that goes directly onto the vocal. And what ultimately happens is it creates some harmonic content in the top end, and that allows for the vocal to cut a little bit more, almost as if you added a little top shelf EQ boost, except you're not actually doing that. You're using the frequency content of the track to create these higher end harmonics, which allows it to cut. So let me just play a little moment of this song. This is from my girl Chara. Ice Cream is the track, and yeah, I'm just going to play it. You'll hear what I'm talking about. I'm going to get rid of the lo-fi first and then put it in, and you'll hear the difference.
My eyes are reverse, shimmering as they run. Touch me once, touch me once.
All right, so let's put it in.
My eyes are reverse, shimmering as they run. Touch me once.
All right, so it's very, very subtle, but it's just adding a little bit more high end. And if you're not sure, I definitely recommend you rewind and double check the clip to hear it. So there you have it, 5 vocal mixing tips that's going to allow you to sound better. There's a lot of different things you could do to your vocals, but as long as you implement these things, you're going to already sound significantly better and impress more people with your music. If you got value out of this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what else you want to see in my future videos, and I'm looking forward to helping you again soon. I'll catch you later. Peace out.
5.